This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. So today is pretty cool in that we have some of the very best first-person shooters coming back to PlayStation players. The Timesplitters trilogy is back, and I'm so excited to see these games now so easily available on a PlayStation console. Xbox has had access to 2 and 3 for a while now, because they were included as part of the backwards compatibility. In all honesty, these games really do deserve to have a remastered collection set, with it then being released on Switch and PC as well. But for today, I will take the option to see them again on my PlayStation systems. Stuff like this brings us back to the good old days, and Timesplitters is one of those games that, based on my time with it in the last few years returning to it on my Xbox Series S, it still manages to play, look, and even feel like how it did when I originally played it. The games have aged so well, and even in the animations department, can really put to shame many of the modern titles today. During the generation that these titles came out in, I primarily had a GameCube, so my first Timesplitters game was actually with 2 and not 1, and I loved it. Still do. And I love the third one as well. That game might be one of the funniest titles you will ever play, but I never actually managed to play the first game. I got the PS2 very late within its cycle, and it was exclusive to that console. Now with these games coming back, I can take that opportunity and try the first title now. So for new and old fans, it's nice to see these games return. I always love the cutscenes presented within these games. There's such energy there. For 2, you'll see some really great pieces of action. Timesplitters 2 takes on a more serious tone, almost horror-like at times, and depending on the level you're in especially, there might be more horror there. But just look at the camera work, especially the fluid animation found within the action as well. On the flip side, Future Perfect takes on a tone that mixes the serious with a constant lightness with the overt humor found within the campaign. 2 had plenty of humor as well. It was found in other areas of the game too, like with the unlockable characters and the almighty brick. Being that these developers were the same ones that made GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, you can really see that same design found here. For example, in 2, depending on the difficulty, you'll have more or less objectives. This could really change up the levels as you replay them, even seeing new parts of the level that you didn't see before on an earlier difficulty. Plus, these games expertly have a fun excuse with its story setup to allow the developers to provide an extreme amount of stage variety, where you could be fighting through a horror level in one stage, and then next you're running through the Wild West. Each level has their own distinct weapons of that period, and especially the tracks as well. From that perspective, from the visuals, music, weapons, and even feel, it could be taken as its own game as well. It also means you never really know what you're gonna get. Maybe you might get a spoofy Austin Powers type level, and in another you might be fighting against gangsters with a Tommy gun. Plus, the added treat with the campaigns are how they can be completed with a friend as well. Between the campaign missions, the vast multiplayer options, modes, including bots, and a set of arcade stages that provide you with their own specific challenges that net you with even more rewards, it makes you think how these developers were able to provide all of this in a great package. And then you have the map maker as well. I do a lot of critiquing when it comes to modern games. There is a lot that I like about that stuff that comes out today, but there's also a considerable amount of issues found within the AAA space, and overall it feels like a worse space too. This space used to be better, much better, and Timesplitters games easily bring us back to those times. For those that live through it will be like, yes, things used to be better, and here is why. For those that never played these games or were too young at the time, here's a taste of how things were. Timesplitters is literally stuffed with so much content. As a kid playing these games, I didn't really get into online gaming until I got a 360 and Halo 3. That was the first game that I played consistently online. So for enjoying multiplayer games or the multiplayer portions of those games before, it would be what was provided offline. And it was even better when the game allowed you to play with bots. Bots always meant that someone who is playing in single player can now enjoy the multiplayer portion of the game. I know bots are not easy to provide, but it was also something that was at least commonplace at the time, and it was something that I absolutely loved. Plus, if you want to talk about gaming preservation, by having bots means that after the player base has moved on, or if no one's actually playing the game but you still want to enjoy the multiplayer options and modes, these bot options are key to preserving what made those multiplayer moments special. So usually when I thought of bots, I would immediately think of Timesplitters. Then compound this love of bots and just explore the multiplayer options. You have several modes that range from deathmatch type stuff to various objective things, a colorful number of maps or even created ones by you, the weapons that are presented in each of the stages too. You can get really crazy on what you have. Maybe you have everyone start out with explosives or other options. This is not hyperbole, you really do get a lot here. If you couldn't tell by now, I have a huge love for these games, and therein lies my bias. But where you can have games you can enjoy as a kid and then play them as an adult, sometimes they don't hold up. But as I like to cover a lot of retro stuff on my channel, I am realizing that these older titles actually do mechanically hold up pretty well, with Timesplitters having that excellent presentation and elements that makes me so disappointed in a lot of modern games. I miss when games had all this style, maybe more cartooniness to them, and not just going for being super realistic. I miss when we would see a lot of games trying different styles. I could go on and on about Timesplitters, and I probably will in some future videos, but I wanted to make another video in celebration with it coming back today. Maybe these re-releases turn out to be bad, but I hope that isn't the case, because the idea of having these games back is just really great. Now we just need someone to come in and give this trilogy a proper remaster, so that even more people can enjoy it. Hey Night Dive, maybe you can do this, or another quality porting and remastering company can come in and do it as well. As another side note, I hope that we can see Second Sight come back too. The same developers took the same engine, and instead of a first-person shooter, they made a story-focused third-person shooter, with a heavy focus on psychic powers. This was a pretty cool title, very underrated, and showed how this team could dip their toe into another genre that wasn't just Timesplitters or a first-person shooter, so hopefully that one comes back as well. Were you ever a fan of Timesplitters? What was your first entry? What do you love about it? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.